Alright, my name is Alfred, working on skoologic, and as you can see, this is the skoologic page, and what I want to work on today is the registration section. I've done a lot on this application, but not gone that far. I can show you what I've done before now, but for today, our basic focus is to make sure that students can register on the application. There are certain things, the prerequisites that are required before registration can take place, but for now, we're going to make this snappy and fast. So I have the form here. It looks a little bit big or too cumbersome, but I think the way I lay them out makes it look smaller. So from the top button, we have the academic information. Here the student have to put in their first name, last name, surname, their phone number, the email addresses, and this phone number can also be used to perform the login during the for authentication when you want to log into the system. Then they are expected to select the gender, the date of birth, which can be removed, but I think it's necessary here, and the department in which they're registering, just because I'm visiting this and I have to the system have to recognize this as computer science, and this is the registration number, which is similar to the matriculation number, and we have the levels. The current levels being defined for this department should be selected, and if none is available, I don't think the registration process should go further. Next is the activation code. This code is necessary that ensures that the student coming into the system to register that this department are valid students. So not anyone can just bump in and fill in the form. But for now, we are not going to implement that. Okay, we have the user ID. The passwords should be retyped, so ensure that whatever you put in here also matches there. And activation code, this is not necessary here. So what I need to do is to edit this to remove that. And I think that should be the end of this form. Okay, login details and all that. I just need your user ID, your password, and you're good to go. Other features about the login account can be done and the user profile page. So let's go ahead and fix this. Access code should be there. So I'm going to go back to Visual Studio where I do the design, and you can see here I have the access code, a role for access code. I think I need that, and delete that. Save, go back to your browser and refresh the page, and hopefully I'm going to have a new design page without an access code. Alright, there's no access code. I think this form is now chubby, shorter, and manageable. Next is to let's go get informations for the students. Like, we need to get the levels being defined for the department, and also the current section the department is running on. For these are just mimicked values I included in the model for the registration page. If you don't know the concept of model, some services have a course on teaching interactive web application development. Also, we have single page application development. There you will learn the basis of JavaScript, MVC's framework. In this case, I'm using AngularJS. It's very powerful. So modeling an application requires you to understand the concept of single page application, JavaScript, and UI design. So we have courses on that are very, very affordable. So you can subscribe to that. To call us some, you just dial 00692734779. I think the number is on your screen, not on your screen actually. So I'm going to move out of here. I think I'm going to have that here, and that's the number. This one here to my right. Okay, so this is student feed section of the app, and these are Postmate. but that's not what we're here for. So registration. So this is how the registration is going to look like. Even if I log out and I come in as a student, I'm disconnecting, and let me go back to the home page. Now we have only 2 departments. Now this is just showing because I disabled some departments from showing. Maybe they don't have the requirements. For instance, if I should go to d/sm web dev, and you can see this department is blocked, kind of, but not blocked. Actually is blocked, so you can't do anything here. If I go to register, I think I have to block this from processing, and that's what I did. The banner info you're looking for does not exist. It actually exists, and I should say it's not available. Okay, so you can't actually let's see login. Let's see if I check that. Sorry, that should be login, and actually it's allowing me to log in, which I logged in. All right, but logging in there doesn't make any sense. So it makes sense actually, because you can log into any part of the app. So like I said, if I should come to any of this department without logging in, this is what I get, and I can now go to the register and still see the same form. All right, but what I want to show here is we need to show the levels for this department, but there is a problem. I think the level details are kinda, I think I secured them, which means you can't call this function when you aren't logged in. Let's see. So when I go to my department controller, I have the secure section and I say get levels. I think this is get levels, and this is secure. All right, and that poses a problem, because if I try to call this functionality when I'm not authenticated, it doesn't work. And again, I think I am also doing this authorization to ensure that levels are shown. So there's a problem I'm facing now. So there are 2 things involved here. It's either I remove the verification processes here, okay, that making levels visible, available, or I create another function that actually does the getting of the same level. So I don't think it's necessary to do that. So I'm going to put in here and allow anomalies. So this allows unauthorized people to get access to this, but this guy also validates if you're authenticated. Okay, if you're authenticated, that's when you can call that function. Okay, let's go back. I don't want to mess things out up here, because mainly looking at this, these apps for levels, why this does the authentication department ID. So I think getting these guys would be free, so I'm going to comment this out, comment this section out to ensure that we are allowed to get the levels. So just rebuild the project. Now what I need to do is to go back to my registration controller, and on the init section I want to show that everything gets loaded. All right, so my scope, I'm going to add a level here. Scope dot levels will be an array of the level I'm going to retrieve from the server. So here in the init function, I just have to get everything done. Why am I having this? This is scope the registration scope that levels. I'm sure that I'm doing this in the right place. Okay, I'm not doing it in the right place. This should be going off, and this should come down here. And that is it. All right, so let's move on. And now to retrieve these levels, I think I want to make my functions a little bit smaller. Okay, it's manageable. So I'm saying I'm going to create a function called getLevels. So this gets levels by the department we are registering under, that we are visiting their profile page. Okay, so the getLevels is going to be a function that what this does is simply calling another service that I've designed I think it should be in the department service, and that's this. And what that does is tell the department service, please get me levels for your department. So to do that, we can say department service dot get levels, and levels, and this guy is asking me what is the ID of the department. var id that ID is equal to dpid. Okay, department ID should be the department service dot get active department. I think I called it. Did I call that active department? Let me verify that. So I'm going to go to, I call it this should be D12 get ID and get current department ID. So this is get ID. I think that should be what we call, in this case, it's get ID. Okay, so this gets me the ID, and this is how it does it using templating. So with that, we know the department ID we want to get. So then we tell this guy to get it by this ID of the department. Then this a promise, and it just call that is a promise. It returns a promise for us that has a function called done, and that function accepts another function that we call, and we pass some data. So I think let me just say status service dot alert the show success message. Okay, success status, and that is downloading levels. Let's see what happens. So this says downloading levels. I'm going to tell you for 5 seconds, and that is what that guy is going to do. Now this data I am getting, I'm going to convert it to a raw JSON. Is equals to Angular dot, you have jQuery equivalent for this, but from JSON, and pass that the data, and that should be the levels I want to retrieve. Right, and we can say console.log JSON, and that should give us the levels we intend to have. Scope.levels is equal to JSON data. I think that should be where the levels are being stored or hidden. Then I need to do one more thing on the scope, and that is calling the scope dot apply. So these ensure the digest cycle is recalled and everything are binded as expected. Then when this fails, what happens? So get level will be called on the init of this registration controller. I think so. So I'm going to call init here. Init calls the get level. And on my view, I'm going to, where is that? That should be turn button away. Add level session, not that registration, that should be this one. All right, so on this view, I want to ensure that everything works as expected. As current section, current level. So we have select control required engine model level, option LN levels, and that's all. And let's say we refresh the page, and hopefully we may have a level if we don't have errors. So just like I just said now, this guy said unassigned. Let's reload. Hold on. So you see we have four we have data here. I think we have 4 of them, and when I click here I got the object here. All right, so this means that we actually have levels. We need to fix this. All right, we need to fix this to ensure that the data are displayed as expected. So on this section we say LNL for LN level. So LN, just the name, that's the name we need here. Oh, my system is hanging. So like I said, we have this is name L name for LN level. So that's, I think that should be what we do. And downloading levels, and then we select that, we have the levels for each department. So when I go to this, and remember this work because we have our anonymous kind of thing for that. So when I click this guy and come to the registration, and downloading levels is being allowed to us, and we have also their own kind of information. So to make sure we are actually loading levels for the right department, this null is negative, and the department for this is null is negative, which is wrong, right? This is wrong because, like I said, we need to get the right information, else we'll be getting an error. So let's check this on the source code. Sorry, check view source, and when I go to this view, okay, I think I don't have what I expected here. Okay, NACOS department ID. NACOS should be the ID, and I don't know why I got that, but we can still verify what we are actually getting. ID is current ID. I think I'm getting the right stuff, but am I authenticated? This computer science, and I'm getting the wrong. am I doing? So I got the wrong thing here. This is for knuckles, right? Go back home, select this guy, and view the log. I say register the loading levels, and we have that same stuff. And which person whose levels did I get? 4 of them from Nali's naked. Okay, the whole thing works. Okay, what I'm going to do is to test for other departments. So I'm going to activate back the locked down department. I'm going to go to manage existing departments, and let's go allow ASM to be enabled again. Because ASM has some interesting departments. Go back here and click at this guy, move that to register, and all right, so we are actually getting everything we intend to get. So what is your current level? And you're creating complete developer, that's great. Then you register at ASM. All right, now for different departments, like for instance ASM, which might be managed by my company, I may not require users to include and access code, and that will be very, very impressive if it can be configured to that level, so we can remove that role and people can register on the ASM and learn, right? So I think I need to log in as ASM as well. So going back to login, let's say ASM. Okay, so going to login as ASM web dev. All right, so ASM has some interesting publication to teach architectural design that people can just come in and learn. But you will have to have your level so that you can be managed at ASM. All right, so these are the things I intend doing. Back to the registration and downloading levels, and we have those levels. Now, what should be the selected level? Now, by default, we need to select something. So AngularJS allows us to include an option element with a value of nothing, right? So select level. All right, so this is select level and the value of empty. So this ensures that a value is being selected. But the problem I may encounter is when you select an item, is it purely a level? Okay, so that may be fixed in the next video. So for now, I have select level, and that is it. So thank you for watching. Don't wait out for the next section of the video. Thanks.